From the first princess film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, in 1937 to the present, it has spanned almost 80 years. Although these films have no continuity in the story, there is still a clearly visible clue: the development of feminism and the advancement of women. The first stage is no feminist awareness. Snow White, Cinderella, and Sleeping Beauty, the princesses of this series, fully reflect the characteristics of the era. Housework and childcare were the main social functions of women in American society. With the advancement of the times and the rise of women, the image of Disney princess at this stage has been criticized by the public and has been accused of being a subsidiary product under the patriarchal ideology. Snow White did not show any spirit of resistance or independence in the film, except for singing and dancing and making friends with small animals. These three features have become the standard for all Disney princesses since then. Snow White was completely passive from start to finish. And even her title song, "Someday My Prince Will Come," was full of blind optimism and passive waiting.
Someday my prince will come.
In the three princess films of the pre-feminist era, feminist elements all appeared in the opposite role: Snow White's evil queen, Cinderella's perverted stepmother, Sleeping Beauty's devil godmother. These women are either full of desire for rights or jealous, or it is simply the evil of abstraction. Their unrealistic evil is the other extreme of the impractical kindness of princesses. These female villains are a common prejudice against capable women in patriarchal society. 1980s, after decades of feminist movements, mainstream media at the time had created stereotypes of two types of feminists. But it is undeniable that the feminist movement for decades has long made feminist consciousness popular. The equal rights of women and men, that is, the idea that women are on an equal footing with men in all aspects of social life such as occupation, education, marriage, etc., has long been silent. The princesses of this period finally began to be interesting. They are no longer pretending to be rigid images but like mortals. The Little Mermaid changed her image before the princess, more like an ordinary adolescent rebellious girl. And Belle, from Beauty and the Beast, that appeared in 1991, is even more amazing. She is the only person in their village who loves to read. Reading this is the exclusive privilege of men in the traditional patriarchal society and the cornerstone of men's power. She can be called the first true feminist and Disney princess. The third stage is post-feminism. Disney officially defines this period as the Renaissance of Disney animation. Feminism reached its peak in Magnolia of this period, and women's position in the patriarchal society has emerged as the main contradiction of the film The Princesses of the post-feminist era, beginning with The Little Mermaid and ending with Mulan. They put aside men's examination of women, and women themselves define women's identity and consider their own strengths and weaknesses. Women's dream should be to please themselves, not to please the patriarchal society. Among Disney princesses, starting with Frog Princess in 2009, including Rapunzel in Rapunzel, Merida in Brave, and Elsa and Anna in Frozen in 2013. All bring with this awakening of self-consciousness. They are called the princess of the new feminist era. In the Frog Princess, released in 2009, the first black princess, the princess of entrepreneurship, Diana dreamed of opening a restaurant of her own since she was a child. Anna has been fighting for her dream since the beginning of the film. Rapunzel, released in 2010, perfectly expressed the connotation of post-feminism. Rapunzel embarked on an adventure. On the one hand, it is a rite of passage for a teenager to step out of the family, to protect and grow into a person. In Frozen, Elsa is different from the immaculate, flawless, flat female images of Disney princesses in earlier years. When Elsa was misunderstood, her self-closing was actually a metaphor for society's rejection and distortion of women's personal abilities. What Elsa hides is an unchangeable desire and nature that are unacceptable to the world and suppressed by society, but inherently possessed. The plot of Let It Go is the whole process of Elsa's release of herself. She first took off her gloves, then took off her cloak, then spread her hair, and finally even cast off her crown. Every action is a symbol of a woman breaking free from worldly restraints and showing herself. Elsa, who regained herself, showed the release of self-repression by women. The last stage is neo-feminism and girl power. A major weakness of princesses in the post-feminist era is that marriage is still the most important factor influencing their adult lives. In the new feminist era, the main line of princess stories has nothing to do with love. Princess Frog and Rapunzel are missing girls looking for mom. The superpower that Elsa tried to suppress in Frozen is the image expression of girl power, and eventually Elsa accepted her true identity.